Donald Trump's spiritual advisor, Pastor Robert Morris, is known for his charismatic sermons and leadership of one of the largest congregations in the country. He has confessed to a moral failure following accusations of inappropriate behavior with a young girl who was just 12 years old at the time. The revelations are both shocking and heartbreaking, prompting us to question how can someone do this being a pastor, and why it remained hidden for so long. As I was making this video, I was devastated by what Robert did with the 12-year-old innocent girl. Not only as a pastor, but also as a human being, I can't begin to imagine how upsetting this is. If you are faint-hearted, please consider stopping watching. Robert Morris, the founding pastor of Gateway Church in Southlake, Texas, leads a congregation that attracts over 100,000 worshipers weekly. Known for his charismatic preaching and strong stance on tithing, Morris has built a reputation as a leader in the prosperity gospel movement, which in itself is a big problem.
That word, mine, when he refers to the tithe, he says, it's mine. Don't touch it.
Robert Morris is a fraud. He's a fake. He's a deceiver. He's a charlatan, and he is a con man.
So it's real, okay? Everyone got it's real? You got that?
Everything seemed to be going well with Robert. He was earning a lot of money by manipulating scripture to pressure people into tithing and preaching a prosperity gospel, until this shocking allegation was made against him by one of his victims. When this controversy arose, Robert himself admitted to what he had done. Listen to what Morris said in a statement to the Christian Post after Gateway Church was asked about the allegations.
When I was in my early 20s, I was involved in inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady in a home where I was staying. It was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong. This behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years. In March of 1987, this situation was brought to light, and it was confessed and repented of. I submitted myself to the elders of Shady Grove Church and the young lady's father. They asked me to step out of ministry and receive counseling and freedom ministry, which I did. Since that time, I've walked in purity and accountability in this area.
Oh, sounds great, doesn't it? He committed a sin, stepped down from ministry for a bit, then asked for forgiveness. And just like that, the survivor and her family forgave him. Neat and tidy, right? But no, this is not the true story. Here comes Cindy Clemishire. In the story, she was the 12-year-old young lady who was abused by Robert 35 years ago. Now she is a 54-year-old grandmother. She first revealed to the Wartburg Watch that Robert began physical abuse on December 25, 1982, and continued for 4.5 years. But just wait, the 25th of December, the day when we celebrate the birth of Jesus.
I was 12 years old. I was a little girl, a very innocent little girl, and he was brought into our home. He and his wife, Debbie, and their little boy, Josh, entrusted and preached at the church that my dad helped start, and then began grooming all of us to do this, which took me decades to wrap my brain around as an adult. It went on for many years. He says there was no sexual intercourse, but he did touch every part of my body and inserted his fingers into me, which I understand now is considered a form of rape by instrumentation. I was an innocent 12-year-old little girl who knew nothing about sexual behavior.
What was the fault of this innocent girl? How can someone say he's a follower of Christ when he does such things? Clemishire said in her report to the Wartburg Watch that she and her family first met Morris at a youth revival in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1981 when he was a 20-year-old traveling evangelist. At the time, he was married to his wife, Debbie, and they had a son, Josh. She said Morris began preaching at her church regularly on Sundays after he was invited to do a youth revival in her hometown of Hominy, Oklahoma. Her family and the Morrises quickly became friends. They were invited into their home and often went on trips together. On that fateful Christmas night in 1982, Clemishire said the safety of the relationship with Morris and his family ended for her When she turned 16, Clemishire said Morris would take her out in his car and try to have sexual intercourse. By this time, Morris was a pastor at Shady Grove Church, which would eventually become Gateway Church Grand Prairie campus. Cheshire eventually confided what was happening to her to a close friend, who encouraged her to tell her family. When her father found out, he told the lead pastor at Shady Grove Church that if Morris didn't get out of ministry, he would get the police involved. That threat forced Morris to step away for 2 years. Morris would return to Hominy with his wife and televangelist James Robison. They told Clemishire's father that he wanted to return to ministry, and, at that point, her father washed his hands of Morris and no longer interacted with him, the Wartburg Watch said. The survivor made it clear Morris did not get her father's blessing to return to ministry.
My father never ever gave his blessing on Robert returning to ministry. My father told him he's lucky he didn't kill him. I am mortified that he is telling the world my dad gave his blessing. Of course, we forgive because we are called to biblically forgive those who sin against us.
Clemishire explained that she retained an attorney in 2005 to file a civil lawsuit, but Morris's attorney suggested she caused the abuse on herself because she was flirtatious. They offered her $25,000 if she signed a non-disclosure agreement, but she refused. For years, she explained to CP, she has been warning churches and pastors who would listen to her story about Morris because she doesn't believe she's the only one who suffered his abuse. She also argued that he shouldn't be serving in ministry and should step down.